Good evening. Tonight we'll be learning Aseret hadibrot, Dibra 3, Part 1. So just to recap yesterday's lesson, Hashem rewards for those who perform the mitzvot. His mitzvot are infinite. The reward have no end. But the punishments are up to the third or fourth generation. So tonight, we are studying the third dibra, which is לא תישא את שם השם אלוקיך לשווא, כי לא ינקה השם את אשר יישא את שמו לשווא. Do not take or do not pronounce Hashem's name in vain, uselessly. Hashem will not cleanse the sin. Hashem will not forgive the person who says his name in vain. The meaning of this dibra is that one should not use Hashem's name in an oath, in a shevuah, without reason. Even if the shevuah, the oath, is true. And of course, even more so if the shevuah is not true, is false. Chachamim teach us that we learn from this dibra not to swear. We must avoid at all cost taking an oath. When Hashem said this dibra, the whole earth trembled. There is a lot here. Why is the whole world going to tremble? There has to be a very profound reason for this. So in regarding to other sins, other chataim, Hashem said he cleanses, he forgives if a person repents. However, when someone says a shevuah, an oath, in vain, it's not necessary, it's useless, it has no purpose, or it's false, Hashem does not forgive, even if a person does do teshuvah. Then what happens? Then his sin, his head, is not forgiven without suffering. When someone, in general, as a general rule, when someone makes a sin, Hashem punishes the sinner and those who were with him and could have stopped him from sinning. In the case of the the punishment of the sinner is obviously bigger than the punishment of those who were with him at the time, his family, his friends, whoever was there, and could have stopped him. However, in the case of shevuah, in the case of oath, the sinner and the people around him or his family or whoever he was with at the time, they get the same punishment as if the family or the friends, as if they too had been swearing. As we have previously learned, this has an effect in the balance of the world. If you remember, we learned that there is a balance in the world for every mitzvah and every avira. So this is really affecting the balance of the world. As someone who swears in vain, and the swearing, the oath is for nothing. It's useless. And people could have stopped him, but they did not. The whole community is punished. Here we learn to teach our children and train them to say the truth always and not make a shevuah, not make an oath, even if the statement is true. This responsibility of training and teaching children falls on parents and teachers. In the whole 10 dibrot, in the whole Aseret hadibrot, the 10 commandments, we find a specific punishment is only 2 dibrot. The first one is avodah zarah, and second one is shevuah. Avodah zarah meaning worshipping an idol, and second one, Shevuah, making an oath, using Hashem's name. This shows that both dibrot are equally serious offenses. This is a very serious matter. They are followed first, they are followed. They follow each other. So first is avodah zarah, first is worshipping idols, and next is Shevuah, making an oath. This teaches us that believing in another God is a lack of kavod, a lack of respect for Hashem. As if we put chas v'shalom, the avodah zarah, on the same level with Hashem. When we honor the avodah zarah, it is in the same way. It's forbidden, asur, to dishonor Hashem by using His name. So we dishonor Hashem by worshipping avodah zarah, chas v'shalom, and we dishonor Hashem by swearing, making an oath. That is not important. An oath that is useless, has no purpose. This is a chilul Hashem, desecrating Hashem's name. And we know that someone who desecrated Hashem's name, even Yom Kippur, that person is not forgiven. Even on Yom Kippur. It is as if desecrating Hashem's name, it means we are making Hashem like it's an everyday thing. Taking away His loftiness, His greatness, and His kedusha. When Chachamim need to say Hashem's name, we know that they would go to the mikveh before they would say Hashem's name, and they had to have pure thoughts. They didn't think about anything at all. They were so careful. And even today, a sofer, a writer who writes mezuzot or sefer Torah or tefillin, every time he has to write Hashem's name, he goes to the mikveh and he has to have pure thought. He has to be so careful, right? And he dips himself in the mikveh before he writes Hashem's name. So what happened? People were so careful about using Hashem's name. In nowadays, people got so used to swearing, to using Hashem's name so often and so easily, even though there's no benefit from it, right? When someone makes a useless shevuah, a useless oath, there's no benefit from such an oath. So if people if those people who have this habit of swearing and using Hashem's name in vain, if only they knew how much harm they cause to both themselves and to the world, they would do everything in their power to refrain from making an oath, from making a shevuah. Even when necessary, they would not use it. As we know, there's so many stories in the Gemara and through Chachamim how they refused to swear, even at the time when they had to, and it was true, and yes, it was necessary. They refused to. They didn't want to do this. They didn't want to use Hashem's name. Now that we understand the meaning of Lo tisad Shem Hashem Elokecha Lashav, now that we understand how serious it is, now we're going to learn about the different types of oath that there are. So there are 4 different types of oath. Oath in vain. Shevuat shav. They have no effect, no purpose, no results. That's useless, right? So the first one is nishba leshanot et hayadua. Someone who is swearing about something that everyone knows that what this statement that this person is swearing about is false. It's a sheker. For example, that there is a marble pillar, right? There's a marble pillar, and someone comes and says, "I swear to you," and he uses the name Hashem's name. He says, "I swear to you that um, this pillar is made of gold." Nishba leshanot et hayadua. He wants to change the reality. This is true, yes. Everyone can see this pillar is made of um, this pillar is made of marble. Yet he is swearing that it's not, and he wants to change that reality to making it into gold, right? It is considered a vain oath. It's useless. Shvuat shav. And it's not a false oath, since everyone knows that the statement is false. But the thing that he's swearing about, that this is marble, yeah, everyone knows it is marble. But yet he insists that by swearing, saying that it is gold. The second type of oath is lekayem et hayadua, swearing about something that is true. It's known, everyone knows that this is true. For example, this is a pen, and someone is going to come and swear with Hashem's name, yes, this is a pen, I swear to you. Why do you need to swear? Everyone knows it's a pen. He's not trying to change it to something else, but he's just swearing that this is a pen. Right? This doesn't make sense. Or if someone is pointing to a stone and swear that it is a stone, it doesn't make sense. Why swearing? Right? So the shavua is lashav, in vain, is useless, has no purpose. The third type of shavua, levatel et hamitzvot. Someone is swearing using Hashem's name and saying, I am not going to eat matzah on Pesach, or I'm never going to put on tefillin, or I'm not going to put mezuzot around my house. How can someone swear about something about mitzvot? We can't. You know why we can't? Because before we received the Torah, we made a promise to Hashem that we were going to keep the Torah. We cannot go back on that promise. That's it. A person cannot go back on that promise. So, levatel et mitzvot. He can't. He cannot just say, okay, I'm not keeping mitzvot, and I swear that I'm not keeping mitzvot. You can't, because that promise already was done many, many, many years ago. All right? We cannot turn around. The person cannot turn around and say, no, I'm not keeping the mitzvot. And the fourth type is she'i efshar lo. What does this mean, I efshar lo? He's swearing he's going to do something that is not humanly possible. For example, he's going to say the person weighs about 200 pounds, and he says, I'm going to pick up 500 pounds, and he swears. Or that he says that he will not go to sleep for 72 hours straight. I'm not sleeping, nothing. How can it be? So this is also considered shevuat shav, an oath in vain. In an oath that is useless, that has no effect, no purpose, no results, right? If a person makes any of these four types of shevuah, he is guilty of breaking the dibra, lo tisa et shem Hashem Elokecha lashav. Rabbi Shimshon Raphael Hirsch brings another explanation. So I hope I'm not holding you for too long. So please bear with me. And he explains the whole concept of Shavuot Shav. He explains it so beautifully. And he says that Lo tisa et Shem Hashem Elokecha Lashav. Do not take the name of Hashem in vain, in an oath. It means taking the name of Hashem and placing oneself under it, submitting oneself to the power and might of Hashem, who takes care in the affairs of the world. As the name of Hashem expresses, when we say Aleph, Dalet, Nun, Yud, Adonai, that means that Hashem is the master of the world, and he takes care of the whole, of everything that goes on in the world. So we are calling down Hashem's name when not telling the truth. Besheker. Or if one does not keep the promise, or someone makes a promise but he doesn't keep it. In an oath, there are two parts accepting of Hashem that are joined. There are two parts that are joined. Number one, Hashem watches all of our deeds, ma'asim. And number two, Hashem's power over our fate. When one makes an oath, a shivua, then it means that Hashem now, more than before, he has more to say on our fate. What's going to happen to us? What's going to be in the future? In the name of Hashem, it implies that we are submitting our whole future under Hashem's power of deciding our fate. Based on this statement, so this statement, if it's said, we use Hashem's name in vain for no purpose, no effect, was useless, our fate is going to be decided. It means we are taking things, we're changing things here about what's going to happen to us, to what's our future. One who wishes to prove the truth of his statement and the honesty of one's actions, right? We use Hashem's name because we want to prove that what we are saying is true. So a false statement is the most direct way of denying Hashem in the most disrespectful manner. By using Hashem's name for no reason, no purpose, it is actually being very disrespectful to Hashem. Thereby, with his own words and deeds, to the judgment of Hashem, the man is placing himself in the judgment of Hashem by his own words and his own deeds. And Hashem decides and fixes his future and his fate according to his deeds and his words. He said things. Now, his fate is going to be decided based on what he said. Hashem started the dibrot from Anochi Hashem, right? Anochi Hashem, Asher Tzeticha Me'at Yisrael, which demand our positive recognition of Hashem as the ruler of the world, of our fate, and the guide for our actions. Lo yeh lecha Elohim acherim expresses the negative consequence of this recognition. Number one, we recognize Hashem. Number two is if we believe, chas v'shalom, in avodah zarah, in idols, then there's no, the consequence is negative, right? There's no alliance to any other gods. We cannot believe in any other god. Lo tisa makes this recognition the basis of communication between men and men. By saying, first we said, Hashem said, Anochi Hashem, that we have to believe him. Number two, Lo yeh lecha Elohim, you cannot believe in any other God, because otherwise then the first one is no good, right? About believing Hashem. But then the third one, Hashem here brings something which is so important to life, to the community, to life together, right? And what is this? This being able to communicate. Why? Because if I trust you and I know that you're going to say the right things, and we are going to have dealings, we're going to have business, and you're going to swear that what you're telling me is good when in fact it's rotten. So Hashem here is actually putting together a social structure for human society, because in this way we find security. This way we find that oh, this is a very dignified way of dealing. I know that if he's swearing with Hashem's name, so I believe that he can't be lying. But Chas v'Shalom, what if he does, right? And that calls for Hashem's involvement. So the moment that person made the oath, the Shevuah, that already brought involvement of Hashem into our affairs, into our dealings. That's why the warning not to swear with Hashem's name uselessly, for no purpose, no effect, and no results. A very severe warning. So in the zechut of this learning, may Hashem bless us with bracha, hatzlacha, parnasa, briut, shalom, simcha, nachat, and zivugim. Be'ezrat Hashem.